it it's one of those films where if you want to like film yourself, your reaction to it, or your fiance's reaction, she's gonna be like, "Why did you make me watch this?"
Yeah.
Just blame it on me. Be like, the guy who wants to shoot your wedding." Don't say that. Actually, she's gonna be like, "I don't want him shooting the wedding anymore." Regardless of, it's cool with me if you're going with me or not. But but no, that's a weird film. But it's like the way he came up with it is putting ideas in the box, and it, when you do that, you're not restricted to a process that feels cliched or feels like formulaic or anything, because I mean that's what really generally happens when you're working from any kind of guideline. But here's the thing,
because you don't want to be too structured.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I believe in guidelines, like Feeding the Fire,
because then there's no creativity.
Yeah. Like Feeding the Fire used a lot of structure to it. It wasn't like this like art film that went any which direction. It was kind of an artsy film that I was going for. But what I didn't tell a lot of people, or I did, it was like it had classical structure to it. Like Blake Sanders' beat sheet, Save the Cat book. His beat sheet in that, which was basically like the catalyst, leads to break in Act 2, all these different things. And I mean, it has that, but I've internalized the meaning behind those structures. And I've also compared it to, like, I used this corkboard back in the day to compare it to mythology, archetypes for storylines, all these different things. And in an effort to kind of figure out what are the possibilities with stories, because you need rules in some degree to get your brain thinking in the right direction. And I do kind of think in terms of like,
do you use the 3-act structure?
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, like I actually call it the 4-quarter structure. It's based on based on how I compare them all and lump them all together. The first quarter is like you're establishing like the problem, the story, and then you're getting the character to go from debating going to doing it, like they're against it, but then by the end of the first quarter, which is basically the first act, you get them to go doing it.
Right. Yep.
And they're committed. And you get rid of any, hesitancy.
So they're committed to getting what they want. Yes. But then there's usually a catch. There's usually a catch to it.
What's that? What is that?
So in this technique, the nutshell technique. So in the beginning, like you said, you develop your character, mm-hmm. you give them a want and a desire, and then at the end of the first act, they end up getting that want, mm-hmm. but there's a catch. So if you look at Bernie, for instance, he wanted to dance, he wanted to to pursue that as his passion, and at the end of the first act, he gets it because he gets separated from his hive. Mm-hmm. But the catch is, he's separated from his hive. His hive is now threatened. He doesn't know what he's going to do with the rest of his life, but he has that opportunity now that he can go and dance.
Yeah,
and
that's
pursue
an interesting
that passion.
way of putting it.
And then what I did was at the end of the second act, it's the opposite. So he doesn't want to dance anymore. He just wants to go back to being in a normal hive and forget about that dream that he had.
That's where I'm.
And that's where you get that.
I definitely could use that.
That opposite, the irony.
I'm getting that freaking book, man.
You got to get it. I'm telling you. And then and you don't want to add too much structure, like you were saying. I get what you're saying, but just to put something down, and then you get creative from that.
Yeah,
and then you start getting cool ideas from that.
Dude, that's a good way of. I wish I came across this book sooner.
But then that's the character's rock bottom. So the character flaw. So Bernie's is his insecurities, and so that's his like rock bottom. He doesn't fit in his hive. He doesn't fit in this new place, Bugsville. He doesn't fit in with this new band. So this is his rock bottom, and then after that, he starts moving towards being secure.
Yeah,
and fully developing.
That's what I like about that. So basically, like my way of doing it is like the first quarter, the first act is basically he's getting him into that storyline. Second quarter is like it's the meat and potatoes. It's what they came for. It's the fun games. It's the buddy story. It's like the love story. This is what
you need
the audience came for.
Entertaining in the second act.
And it's it's progression. It's getting it's moving forward, getting what we want or what we think we want, which is actually like it's interesting to compare that to what the catch thing is. Then the midpoint is where you get where you think you want, or you you know, in mythology terms, you might find it's the meeting with the goddess, or the mother figure, or this benevolent, you know, force that is, you know, nurturing you. But then you have to confront the father figure, which is in like quarter 4, quarter 3, which is like the second part of Act 3, or no, Act 2, where things kind of start going downhill.
Right.
Like bad guys catch up, all these things.
And that's like then the character's rock bottom is at the end of.
And that's why, like, I was following your script, and I was like, yeah, you're nailing those, but you're doing things that I've never, like, I guarantee I could learn from. In terms of like that process, I'm gonna get in that book. Like, as soon as this is done, I'm going on Amazon, ordering it, finding it.
Yeah, man,
I'm gonna devour it.
Again, I didn't use that book for my first screenplay, and I had no structure. I don't even think I had like a 3-act.
But it can help to figure out what structure is to you. But no, I know what you mean. And that like once, but no, like the fact that you did a short film, you wrote a short film and learned from that. That's what helped me with Feeding the Fire, was like Feeding the Fire, because I did that.
So did you start it with a short film?
I started with like Feeding the Fire was, once I got that done, like I before I was making short films in high school, they weren't that great. And then I tried to take a step, like I was trying to work on something and it kept ballooning into like a bigger feature film. I didn't start with the intent of making a feature film. I started with trying to perfect the short film, which always happens. And that short film becomes a feature film.
Yeah. That's where it becomes
quicksand, man. And that's what, like, so I was doing that, and that's what led to years of me not making a film, because I just got stuck in that. And then, so I had to make this really solid short film that followed all the rules in a way, or did things right, but also went beyond the rules and did things right for me, which felt like this feels like a good human story that doesn't feel contrived or artificial or formulaic. It feels like this is something that can, it feels real. Like, it feels like this is advice that I give to a friend, like on a podcast or something. It's not some story I came up with that's fake, just for the sake of feeling, you're checking the marks on like the book about story structure that I was following. It's like, no, this is something that feels real, but it also kind of, in a way, follows it to a degree. So that did that for me, to a degree. And then from that inspired like how I would reapproach Rusty Spade, rewriting that, doing all these different things. That's where Boys Be Boys came from, and I'm actually still, that's going to be my next film. Before the World War II film.
Boys
Be Boys. Okay.